This is Shelley Craft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the Cambridge House International Canadian Investor Conference, Vancouver 2014. I have with me Mr. Thomas Braun, Verisante Technology, Inc. It's a publicly traded company, and the symbols are VRS on the TSX Venture and VRSEF on OTC markets. Thomas, welcome to SNNLive.
Thanks for having me, Shelley. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you. Let's get an overview on Verisante for our audience.
Sure. Verisante Technology is a medical device company that makes devices that detect cancer earlier when they're at their most treatable stage. Early detection is the cure for cancer.
You know, people don't realize those words that you just said and how true they are. Tell us a little bit more about how your device works and the technology behind it.
Well, it's really fantastic. It was developed over a period of 10 years by the British Columbia Cancer Agency, which is a government cancer agency, and the University of British Columbia and Vancouver General Hospital. And what it does is it measures the biochemistry of the tissue in half a second, and it tells you whether or not the lesion or the tumor that you're looking at is benign or malignant.
How is it done today?
Well, right now, with skin cancer, for example, and that's our first product because skin's outside the body, we call it the Verisante Aura. With skin, right now, doctors are just using their eyeballs. They're doing it the same way they did it 100 years ago. There's really very little new technology being deployed. Our device aims to change that.
Where does the biopsy come in? Is this something that is before a biopsy? Is it during or at the same time of treatment or diagnosis?
It's really before the biopsy, because when you get people who come in to see a doctor, they can have hundreds of moles on their body, and the doctors really have a bewildering job to try and figure out which ones to biopsy. So right now they're biopsying many lesions just to find one that's actually cancerous. They actually miss a lot. A study was done in Australia on a huge number of patients that showed that doctors have a sensitivity for melanoma of about 33%. That means they're missing about 67%. Then the ones that they do biopsy, over 80% come back negative. So they're doing a lot of unnecessary biopsies. What our device does is it's telling the doctor which ones to biopsy so that they actually hit the nail on the head, they get the right ones, they're not missing any.
You know what I just thought of? And you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a complete reduction of cost based on a false positive. Am I correct?
We hope so, although, you know what, besides saving lives, you do have to save money in order for new technology to be adopted, and it also has to work instantly, and we actually meet all of those requirements. And the really nice thing about this is that they started with skin cancer because it's outside the body. They thought it would be the easiest way to validate this technology at the British Columbia Cancer Agency. The end goal, though, was to go then inside the body after lung cancer, colon cancer, esophageal cancer, cervical cancer. A lung cancer study's now just been done with terrific results. It's the biggest cancer killer. 1.5 million people a year dying of lung cancer. At its earliest stage, it's treatable. You can save these patients. As soon as you pass that point in time where the cancer starts to spread, those lung cancer patients don't have a chance. There's no cure for these cancers. Hundreds of billions, Shelley, have been spent on trying to find a cure. But to this day, the only thing that works is to cut it out before it spreads.
You're preaching to the choir. I interview a lot of companies in the cancer space. I could go on. I mean, I have a million questions, but I want to focus in on the size of the market for the Verisante product.
Okay, so the first product to go to market, it's approved in Canada, it's approved in Europe, 27 countries. It's approved in Australia. We're just launching this. This year, we're going to be applying for 510K clearance with the FDA, so it's going to be a huge year for us because the United States, let me tell you about the United States market. Every year, 2 million Americans are diagnosed with 3.5 million lesions. This is huge. The number of biopsies being done is probably in the tens of millions. The financial burden to the healthcare system is in the billions. And then people end up having all of these unnecessary biopsies. It's really unpleasant for the patients too. So I think that in the United States, this is going to be a home run. It's going to be huge.
How come you're the first, it seems to me, to have a product like this in the market?
This is the only product in the market that detects all major skin cancers. Let me be clear about something. There are other products around in development. There's so far only one that's been approved by the FDA. They're all only for melanoma. Melanoma is a terrible disease. It's the worst kind of skin cancer. One person dies every hour of melanoma in the United States, all right? But it only represents 3 to 4% of skin cancers. The other 96% of the market is totally unaddressed by our competitors. Our device is developed by a government cancer agency over 10 years. It measures the biochemistry of the tissue, 21 spectral markers in half a second, and it detects all major skin cancers. Basal cell carcinoma is 85% of skin cancer right there. If you don't have basal cell carcinoma as one of the things that your device can detect, then you're really not in the game. So we are the only one in the world that has this kind of technology, and we've got the exclusive worldwide rights for it, as well as all of those other endoscopic applications that I was talking about earlier, like lung cancer.
What's your background?
My background is that I was a securities lawyer, and I specialized in representing high-tech companies. And what I did was in 2010, I closed my practice to become the full-time CEO of this company, because this was such a fantastic opportunity that I just couldn't turn it down.
Where does the name Verisante come from?
Verisante comes from the combination of two words. Veritas is Latin for truth, and santé is French for health. And what we're talking about is really truth in health, and getting accurate biometric information that is not just somebody's guess or based on a hunch, but we're taking a quantitative measurement and we're giving people a real test that will tell them whether or not their skin cancerous lesion needs to be biopsied or not.
So Thomas, I know our audience is going to want to know, tell us a little bit about how it works and how much it costs, and if it's reimbursed. I could go on.
Okay, so this is the way it works. You point a handheld probe at a lesion. There's a 6-foot long cable that connects it to the device, which is on a cart, and you press a button. In half a second, you get an answer. It's very expensive to make. This is very high-tech, sensitive equipment. The retail price is $65,000. We have a very good profit margin on that. There's a disposable tip, so we have recurring revenue of about $10 a patient. There's a profit margin of about 85% on that. And there's a third revenue stream, which is that after the 1-year warranty runs out, we make money off of a service contract. So you have 3 revenue streams. The way the endoscopic device works, it's the same platform technology, but you have a thin fiber optic probe that goes down the working channel of an endoscope. Now, as far as reimbursement goes, for this device, the doctor would get reimbursed by your insurance for the encounter. They get reimbursed for the biopsy, but the patient will have to pay for the aura scan because it's a brand new technology. Typically, patients are going to see a dermatologist once a year. They've got skin cancer. It's a chronic disease. You're on a treadmill. You got to go back every year. And they're typically charging patients between $150 and $500 as a co-payment. Depends on how many lesions you have on your body.
What about colon cancer?
Colon cancer study has just started at the BC Cancer Agency, and the first results are very promising. So we're able to take good measurements. Colon cancer is the second biggest cancer killer, and it's a very important market because a lot of health authorities are saying that everybody should get a colonoscopy when they turn 50. So this is something that would be used during the colonoscopy to detect cancer and to decide where to take the biopsy.
Please, let's get the website out there.
So the website is www.verisante.com. Verisante.com. That's VERISANTE.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN Live. We're at the Cambridge House International Canadian Investor Conference here in Vancouver 2014. I am with Thomas Braun from Verisante Technology, Inc. I'm going to give you two publicly traded symbols, VRS on the TSX Venture and VRSEF on OTC markets. Thomas, I want to thank you for coming on to SNN Live, and I want to wish you luck.